Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
It is a Monday episode. We've got a lot to talk about. It's the first episode of the second half after a weekend of baseball, some premier matchups that we've seen. The trade deadline is, I don't want to say it's upon us, but it is looming. It is close. The walls are closing in rather quickly. Rumors are swirling. We're going to talk about those rumors. We're going to give you the baseball is dead parlay, which I'm going for. I'm throwing a Hail Mary today.
Ooh, you know what? I thought about throwing the Hail Mary. There's a couple, I like where I'm going. I'm confident
where I'm going too.
I really like where I'm going. I don't want to say we're going out on a limb, but
we need to complete a pass.
We got a good shot to make some money.
Yeah,
we got a great shot.
Let's complete the pass.
I think today's parlay has a chance to be over like plus 1,000.
And I want to go on the record here. I will admit it since nobody else is going to bring it up. The last two submissions that I've had for the parlay that we haven't ran for various reasons because there's been, some disconnect. My picks have hit. Both of the picks that were submitted did hit. Just wanted to get that out there.
So you can perform in the shadows, but not under the spotlight.
Yeah, who are these
that's
picks
the thing, is I've been
submitted to?
performing in the spotlight.
Yeah, who are these picks submitted to? That's a great question.
You can go back and look at the thread. So, receipts are there.
Receipts are there. Joseph, what stood out to you over the weekend?
The most biggest thing that happened this weekend in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, where do I start? Where do I start? I really didn't get to watch a lot. I was in Oakland, California, obviously. You can tell by my tan.
I did see that. Yeah, what was up with that? You were interviewing Dallas for some super secret side project you guys are doing?
It's a main project, bro. It's a main project on the main channel. Okay. So look out for that in a couple weeks. I watched Shohei. I think the story is Shohei getting traded or not. Okay, he had a start that was okay. Hit a couple bombs this weekend. Angels continued to lose. Lost 2 out of 3, even though Shohei hit 2 bombs the last 2 games. So that's just more of Angels being Angels. I don't know if that's a story. That's kind of every single week. Shohei goes off. Angels lose.
We'll get into the Shohei trade rumors. Will they? Won't they? Are they going to? And all that nonsense. But yeah, Shohei doing the most and still the Angels losing is just that's his Angels legacy. Is I showed up, I was here. Was everyone else? Not really. Jay, what stood out to you over the weekend?
Oh, it's definitely the Orioles.
Yeah,
definitely the Orioles. Because I think
great baby.
To me, there were 2 series results that stood out, and that one of them was Brewers over the Reds, and the other one was the Orioles moving to within. They didn't play the Rays, but moving to within a game of the Rays, and I just that one is the Orioles situation is a lot more surprising to me because I think we've all understood that the NL Central is kind of like a muddied water sort of who's going to win 85 games sort of situation, and that the Orioles continue to stick around in the AL East and perform closer to like a league best level than, I think the 500 level that a lot of people saw as sort of like the expectation entering the season is just incredibly impressive to me. And when you combine that with the start that the Rays got to, it felt like the division was out of reach no matter how well the numbers. No matter how well the Orioles played, and that's just not the way that it's played out. And it's I don't know. I just can't. I know Fangraphs has it very heavily in favor of the Rays still, but it is just a game, and that feels like it's attainable to me. So Orioles would be my answer.
Here are the numbers on that. The Tampa Bay Rays started off the season 29-7. They've since gone 31-29. That's the 4th best record in the American League East over that span. Over that same span, the Baltimore Orioles have had the best record in the division at 35-22 and are now just 1 game back of Tampa after winning 8 straight.
and after Tampa won the division in the first 2 weeks of the season. I'm with Jay Hay. Another reason why this is exciting is because it seems like I believe Grayson Rodriguez is getting the ball today for the O's.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is his first start back since he was sent down.
Mm-hmm.
So how they're playing right now is you want the front office to have the power and to be in a position to have to make moves to help supplement what you're doing. You also like to think that the guys that you have in-house are capable of providing you that production as well. And the fact that they've got Grayson Rodriguez now to a point where they feel like, hey, maybe we can bring him back up now. Maybe what we've seen can be that impact arm that we need that could help us. I think it's just an exciting time that the Orioles have played themselves into this position to where now their prospects coming up at this point in time aren't about, let's just see what we've got. It's about, we need him to pitch. We need him to play well.
Did you get it, Dallas?
I did get it.
Jay Hay, not a big Grayson Rodriguez fan.
Jay is not a big Grayson Rodriguez fan.
Wait, why are we saying that?
Because you've said it.
You said
it.
I've noted how poorly he's pitched. I don't have anything against the man. I hope.
Well, I mean, you use the word shitbag, not us. We're just trying to outline.
His ERA's over 12, right? All right.
Well, I mean, during the first stretch, it was sure.
There hasn't been a second stretch yet.
Oh, we're
it's
on
starting
the second
today.
stretch.
Zero now. Second stretch is
starting
0
today.
Yeah.
What's Grayson Rodriguez's ERA in the second half of his big league career?
0.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, hopefully he has a good start, because if he doesn't, that ERA in the second half could become unsightly. We could be looking at like 54 or something like that. No, I mean, I am personally rooting for Grayson Rodriguez to be good, because I don't know anything about him, but he's a highly touted pitching prospect on an ascendant team that could become exceptionally interesting in a postseason context if Grayson Rodriguez, and regular season, of course, but like if Grayson Rodriguez is anything like the pitcher that was described and performed in the minor leagues on the way up. Like that's a game changer for Baltimore, because as we've noted, they have lots of different things. What they probably don't have right now in-house is a true blue number 1 starting pitcher, or maybe even a true blue number 2 starting pitcher. And he would change that potentially.
Yeah, just need the command to be a little better. I don't believe he's had an outing in which he has not walked anybody. He's walked at least one hitter in every outing so far in the big leagues. So.
I think it's kind of amazing how quick the Orioles turned into like some underdog team that just everyone's like, kind of sucks, to like, we just expect them to be good now. Like they've been consistent all year. We haven't really talked about them much, but winning all year. And we're kind of just acting like, yeah, we expected this. Like how fast did that happen?
Well, that's what happens when the Rays got shot out of a fucking cannon. Like they're drawing all of the attention of that division, because the conversation now becomes, well, what can any of these teams do to catch Tampa? What can any of them do to compete with Tampa? If we're spotting Tampa Bay a fucking 2-week head start in the win column, man, that's going to be tough to make it ground on if they're just going to keep playing quality baseball. And the Baltimore Orioles have showed you exactly what it would look like if you just keep your head down, keep plugging along, and let the big bad Rays just kind of do what they're going to do. And you look up, and now you've got production from all of the young kids, Joey, that we were talking about a couple years ago. These are the dudes who are making fucking impacts, right? The Adleys, the Gunners, like these are dudes who are now a massive part of why they're winning.
Well, and
I'm just saying that at the beginning of May, when the Tampa Bay Rays were 26 games over 500 or whatever it was, the panel was given the opportunity to hop off their AL East picks and join the Rays. Make them your pick. There's only one person on this panel that didn't hop off and join the Rays. That's me. You're all fucking idiots. You all bought in.
It's not like you stayed on the Orioles.
Yeah, who'd you switch to?
No, but I didn't buy the Rays.
They're still in first.
So you picked the Toronto Blue Jays, who are worse than the Rays. Sounds
so
like
you hopped onto a ship that's sinking much faster.
No. You guys bought the Rays, and it's not happening.
You bought the
Mediocre.
Blue Jays.
Nope.
Mediocre.
Ever since you guys bought the Rays, they're 2 games over 500.
Okay, well, they're over 500, so let's start there. They're
On
over 500.
3-month stretch.
Oh.
Well, that went into the calculation. Like they could go 500 and still win the division.
I just wanted on the record that I did not pick the best team. I definitely picked a team doing
They're
way
not
worse.
the best team. They're not the best team. They have the 4th best record in the division since you idiots jumped off and moved on to the Rays.
Oh, how about
Since
this?
arbitrary date.
How about
Fourth.
this? Well, Jared,
Fourth.
we'll give you the opportunity right now. Do you have the balls to switch your pick to the first place Rays? We're giving right now. You can go with the Rays or you can stick with the Blue Jays. You want to stick with the Blue Jays right now?
I mean, either way, either way, neither one of those teams is win the AL East.
So yes, you're sticking with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I am. Yep. You guys are dumb.
How surprised would you guys be if the Orioles won this division?
Not surprised at all. They're the better team.
If you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have been very
Yeah.
surprised. If you would tell me that now, not that surprised. I still wouldn't pick them, but I think, I know it's a little cliche or like easy, but to go back to that stat that we tossed around at the beginning of the year when they started hot, like with Adley's if you go back to Adley's debut, they're winning at a 94 game clip over 162 games. So like this is like a season and a half basically of winning at this level or near it. And like one of the ways that I think, Joey, you brought up like that, how quickly it's gone from like what our expectations were in the preseason to what they are now. One of the ways to do that, I think, is to have an exceptional bullpen. And they've really done that because it's not always easy to assess who's going to have that exceptional bullpen. And we've talked about Yanair Cano quite a bit, but it's not just him. But the whole unit has been one of the 3 or 4 best bullpens.
King Felix?
Yeah, it's been one of the 3 or 4 bullpens in the league.
Easy.
King Felix?
Stop that.
Or
Stop
you're
that.
going to align yourself with that fucking needle dick out in Seattle? That guy's a fucking dweeb, dude. I was way ahead of the curve on that fucking guy. Me and him had a tweet beef in like 2015 or 2016. And then baseball Twitter discovered that this guy's a fucking Twinkie dick in 2023. And everyone's like, oh, this guy sucks. No,
Who is it?
he's like some radio host. He's the one that told he's like, yeah, you can't use King Felix as your nickname anymore. That already belongs to someone.
Yeah, well, I like, regardless of who said that, I don't care if my worst enemy would have said that, I'm going to agree with that.
Oh, no.
You got to hear the clip.
No,
you got to hear the clip. It's so cringe. It's so
Dude.
I had no idea that was a thing. I just heard you say King Felix and was like, excuse me, no, there's only one King Felix.
Well, they used to say that about the rocket, and then there was 2 of those too. So
There hasn't, like, what, the Tesla rocket? Is that what you're talking about?
rocket. You can't be two rockets. There's requirements in the rocket. That's it. This fucking video right here.
Déjame preguntarle. Felix. Ven aquí, Hey, Felix, what do you think of the Orioles calling you the new King Felix?
I don't know.
Would you rather have him stop that? Does that belong to Felix Hernandez?
Yeah.
It does. Okay, so do us a favor as Mariner fans. Tell the Orioles social media team to knock it off, will you? Thank you.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's who you're aligning yourself with.
No, not at all.
Yes,
That's not who I'm aligning myself with.
Yes, you did. You said, "Oh, team suck." Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You were like, "Man, that guy is my fucking preacher."
Never said that.
King. Yes,
Never
you did.
said that.
Yes, you fucking did.
Like,
you
at that point in time, anybody around that dude has the authority to fucking to take that guy's tape recorder.
Dallas
and
follows
throw
this
it in
guy
the
on
fucking
Twitter
ocean.
too. He retweeted the video.
That's not even.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did, dude.
No, I did not.
Why do you like that guy so much? He sucks.
Go back and look at the tweet.
That guy sucks.
Yeah, and you heard it from Felix's mouth that we should probably. There's only one King.
He was just accosted, and he was just like, what are you talking? He didn't know what he was talking about. He was caught off guard.
You heard it. You heard it. Oh yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about
It's a
that.
bad look for you, dude.
Yeah,
We should reenact that with Jay Hay. Someone come up to Jay Hay. I'm pretty sure that name goes to Jason Hayward, bro.
Yeah.
We've been through this. We've been through this. I'm older than Jason Hayward.
Yeah.
How about you guys? You tell him to knock it
Older
off
than
there,
Josh
DraftKings.
Harrison too.
Yeah,
The
knock
J.Hay
it off.
kid.
All
Yeah.
these other fucking Johnny come latelys.
Yeah. That's tough. Yeah, Dallas, you never come at J-Hay for being a nickname stealer.
We just established why. We've had this conversation
Yes.
long ago.
If anybody wants to put up a different argument, if either of those people want to come on the podcast and explain why they're actually the real Jay Hay, then they're more than welcome to. If Jason Hayward comes on, we can also talk. You know we can talk.
Yeah,
We'll be talking it later, but
talking a little meter. Oh, big time meter update today. They ain't chanting for Clemens, Dallas. I'll tell you that right now.
I could barely
chanting for
hear that.
Clemens. That's
We had
just
a birthday
fact.
party.
A birthday party. Dallas, what stood out to you this weekend? Presented by DirecTV, home to the most local MLB games. This segment, the weekend storylines presented by DirecTV. Shout out to DirecTV, big time sponsor of all the All-Star game coverage that we did as well. Dallas, what stood out to you over the weekend?
What stood out was honestly last night's broadcast of the Angels game. And I'm not critiquing the broadcast at all. I just find it interesting that because it was, and I understand that the main talking point, especially if you're talking about the Angels right now, is what it is, the Halos. But I mean, there was a lot of folks that were kind of throwing around the same idea loosely, like is this? It just felt like one big tamper session, like just here's 3 hours. Like if I'm Artie Moreno, I am feverishly scrambling in the back on the fucking board. Like, how do we fucking unplug that? How do we fucking stop all of this from happening right now? Like, it's 3 hours of how you're telling me I've got to get rid of the best player that's ever played the game. And I'm going to be an idiot if I don't. This is what we have to do. This is what's going to happen if we don't do this. Mike Trout's going to be right behind him 10 minutes later. He's going to be asking to leave. So it just struck me like, damn, dude, have we seen anything like that before? Have we been in a position where a player has been facing what he's facing in terms of free agency, and has it drummed up the attention the way that this has, to the point where unapologetically the crux, the majority of a production is talking about the future of one player. And we are so far beyond caring about what that's doing to like an Artie Moreno, what that's doing to the Angel. Like, doesn't even matter. Like, damn, dude, do you guys we understand that we're kind of putting the Angels on blast here? Like, we're really basically playing GM for them over this don't care. We're going to do that. That's what. So, and again, that's not a critique on the broadcast at all. I'm not saying, man, they should have gone a different way. Not at all. I was just like, wow, here we are. This is how big of a story and how big of a steamroll the Shohei Ohtani free agency will be. I said it years ago. When this dude hits the free agent market, we are going to see negotiations, pursuit, and I even talked about the details of what his contract could look like being something that we've never seen before. Julio Rodriguez's contract is something that I think you'll be able to start to look at and get a feel for all of the nuance there, and get an idea of what Shohei's contract could eventually look like, with the hitting and pitching side having to be paid attention to. But for me, a 3-hour why is Ohtani still on the Angels fest was like, I was just like, damn, this is where this story is. It's not just the forefront, it is the story.
Also, another thing that with the whole Shohei trade stuff, wouldn't you at this point, if you're the Angels and thinking about this in a baseball sense, isn't this your loophole about how we don't want to trade the best player to ever live. Like, we don't want that to be on us. But what if you used Shohei to rid yourself of the Anthony Rendon contract?
Well, that's fine. But do you understand the implication that comes after? And you can
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like, there's no there's no like secret answer. Like, oh, let's put our heads together here. Let's come up with a solution that will be universally praised and it's guaranteed to work.
Let's ask it this way.
That doesn't exist.
Let's ask it this way, Jared. Ask it this way. Are any of us of the belief that when Shohei Ohtani leaves, Mike Trout is more than happy staying pat?
Like staying in Anaheim?
Yes. Here's the situation.
He's already told you he's happy staying there whether they win or lose. He's already told you that.
That's fine. That was with Shohei in-house, and that was...
No, it was before Shohei.
No, well, right.
He's signed 2 deals to stay there. He has told you, I'm happy right here no matter whether we win or lose.
That was before he went and played in the WBC and experienced what he experienced.
And that moved the needle for sure.
Okay, but so that's what I'm saying. We're at a different place now. We're at a different time now. And for Mike Trout, Jared, his feeling could very well have changed the minute the last pitch of the WBC was thrown. And he was like, you know what? Coming into this thing, I was diehard dedicated to the Halos, and this is how I want to do it. This is how I'm going out. That's great. Damn, that felt good. And you know what? I really want to feel like there's going to be some movement. And if I've got an ownership group now who's kicking around the idea of selling the team, they're getting ready to move, you know, the best player on our team. Where do I fit into that? I just had the track record of this franchise tell me how they were going to react and how they were going to perform for me in terms of getting support around me for us to win. And what that track record is showing right now is that they haven't done that. When they've tried to, at times it's been misguided, and they've signed some contracts that they probably could have dispersed evenly amongst other needs, and they have found themselves continually behind the 8 ball. And Mike Trout has not factored into any of that. Him being there hasn't factored into any of that. And so why would they continue now on the other side of his prime to try to build around him?
So you don't need to convince me that the Angels are fucking stupid and have had a very poor plan built around Mike Trout over the last decade. I am well aware of that. What I am not convinced of yet, because I mean, I planted that seed before it even happened. I said, all right, Mike Trout's playing in the World Baseball Classic. He's going to get the itch. And then he went on Mookie Betts' podcast and confirmed that. Like, yeah, man, like, I love that. Like, and Mookie's like, yeah, like, that's crazy to me that you haven't experienced an atmosphere like that. And you still really haven't, because, I mean, it was the World Baseball Classic. It wasn't the actual World Series. So those thoughts are obviously permeating in his mind, and he's manifesting a scenario in his mind where he plays in the postseason and he wins a World Series, and he feels that energy from the fans and his teammates in these big moments, even if he's not directly involved in them. Like he was super animated on the bench for some of these moments. Like, that's all there. But do you think it's at the point? Because don't you think that we would have heard something by now? Don't you think that we would have had some sort of John Heyman report, like reports that, behind the scenes, like sources closest to Mike Trout are saying like he really wants to get out of Anaheim, and he's growing sour of his relationship. Like, maybe that comes after the fact. Maybe that comes after Shohei leaves. But Mike Trout already knows. That needs to happen. He already knows that he's gone. Like, under no circumstances is Shohei Ohtani staying with the Angels. So Mike Trout knows that he's gone, so he must be having these conversations privately, if that's truly how he feels about, all right, yeah, if Shohei goes, I go. Like, that has to be the mindset.
This is why, and it's fair if that is the mindset, but this is why he has to let everything else play out. Like, we have to remember, this is a player who was playing for a team who just as recently as last year, or as recently as this year, there was a conversation about Artie Moreno entertaining the sell of his team. And now you have to ask yourself, what brings somebody back from the brink of selling their franchise to the point now where they want to compete, or if they do want to compete? That's the question. What has brought the Moreno group back and said, we're not selling? in fact, this is what we're doing. And if this is them unloading the bank for Shohei Ohtani and continuing to try to pursue other free agents that are going to make a move, well, then that would give Mike Trout an opportunity to take pause and go, all right, you just gave him fucking $600 million, $700 million, and I see this money on the table moving forward for these other folks. Well, you know what? That's the song I was waiting for you to play. That's the tune I was waiting to hear before I started my dance. I can hear it faintly. I can start to warm up. I can start to get ready to go to work. But if it's Ohtani that's gone and it's Rendon that you're packaging to get rid of that deal as well, then where do I fit in if I'm Mike Trout?
I got to get in there because Jared brought it up and you just mentioned it. I got bad news for the idea of packaging Anthony Rendon to move Shohei Ohtani. Right. I am seriously doubting that any team is taking on $129 million of essentially dead money to acquire 2 or 2.5 months of Shohei Ohtani. It's just not happening. And if I'm wrong on that, what I'm not wrong on is that if they are willing to take on $129 million of dead money to acquire 2 months of Shohei Ohtani, what they are not also willing to do is send you anything else for that privilege. So if the Angels, even if let's say that path is available to the Angels and they take it, what are you left with after that? You are left with quite literally nothing. Except for Mike Trout, because it's great to hypothetically reallot the Rendon money somewhere else, which would be the whole point of trading him. But where are you spending that? Who is taking your money? Other teams have money to spend in free agency too, and you would have no long-term payoff in the prospects that you would otherwise get in Ohtani if you just kept Rendon. So I think I think that would be the single worst thing that the Angels could do, and I don't think it's even available to them. But
no, it would be they would be putting a massive anchor on their own hook, and they would never be able to reel it to the surface ever. There's no chance.
And the other thing too, to Jay Hayes' point about the Angels would have money, but other teams have money too. There's kind of a sad developing dynamic with the Angels now, where it used to be, hey, come to Anaheim, you can play with Mike Trout. Now, as he gets older, and the injuries start to mount up year after year, it's becoming, hey, come to Anaheim. Please save Mike Trout from being this star that never gets to the playoffs. Like, now we need you to attach yourself to Trout to help him get there. Like,
and not just you, but like 2 of your buddies too, right?
Multiple of yous, all of yous.
And like, I just, as it relates to the Rendon thing and the Angels, like they've already lost. They're at 7% to make the playoffs, and they were at 10.8% the last time we talked on Thursday's podcast. So like, oh, that's only 3.8%. Like, that's a huge chunk of their odds, right? Like that's all they have left, guys. And
it's about a third.
And to your point about Artie Moreno, like what changed? It wouldn't surprise me if all that changed is he wanted value for a franchise that had Shohei Ohtani on its team. And the people who were interested in buying were like, you might not have Shohei Ohtani on your team in a year. So why would I value it as if Shohei is going to be there? I bet it could have been that simple. Like,
yep, that's what I've said.
So I already said that I think they need to trade him, and that holding on to him and letting him walk would be a bigger disaster for the franchise than being the team that traded Shohei Ohtani, because you're already the team that squandered Shohei Ohtani, right? Like that story is there. So like,
yeah. Well, it's like you're buying a luxury. Yeah, it's like you're buying a luxury sports car, and you realize, oh, wait a minute. I mean, this looks great on the outside, but I've just popped the hood, and there is you got a V6 under here. And I just opened the car, and this is not leather interior. There's no fine appointments here. This is fucking cloth. There's a cigarette lighter in here. What the fuck is going on? This is not what I thought we were getting. And that's exactly why I've been asking the question, what do you think possibly happened for Artie Moreno to go, nope, and then to not see him make a run at Ohtani? That right there is exactly what happened. You got hit with sorry, bro, I'm not quite sure what the storefront's going to look like next year. Great location, but the product I just don't think is going to be there. So for that reason, I'm out.
There's a sad irony too about like, Artie Moreno specifically and just owners in general are always trying to like break through into the national consciousness and have their brand be like that brand that has national strength or whatever. And it's just so funny that like all of the Angels get into the national conversation and are like a touchstone point in sports because of their failure to build around the generational star. Like that has to just suck so badly as an owner to have that be like your legacy. And, to go back to the free agency point too, about the idea of clearing Rendon's contract so you can spend. I know it's a different GM, but like, why would we have any faith in the Angels putting free agency money to good use? Like we're on like 3 or 4 straight regimes for the Angels post World Series. That's 2 decades in the past now, by the way.
You just go Hamilton, you go Hamilton, Pujols, Rendon, right?
Yeah, and those are like the tent poles. There are many other bad ones like Gary Matthews Jr. and CJ Wilson and like all of these other and smaller ones like Tyler Anderson hasn't really worked out very well. That's another $35 million or whatever it was. Like it's just
who is the other player when the offseason that they trotted out CJ Wilson? There was someone else.
It was Pujols. Wasn't that the same offseason?
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Pujols and who else? Why am I forgetting his name? Oh, never mind. Cut that out. I was going to say Hamilton. We just said Hamilton.
Tighten it up, Joe.
That was Hamilton was in what, 2012? Yeah, something like that. It was right after the World Series. Horrible. Anyways, if there are any Angels fans that listen to this podcast, this must be your least favorite podcast. Because at least we tell it to you like it is, though. I feel like there's got to be delusional as fuck Angels podcasts out there that think that Shohei's staying or that there's a path or whatever with the. We just tell it to you like it is.
Here's the thing: if they were going to make a run, if the conversation about keeping Ohtani,
they already made their run. They were like 8 games over 500.
No, I mean a run at Ohtani, not a run in the postseason. No, I mean a run. What about where you're at right now affects that? I don't care if we're up by 10 games and have a great outlook on the postseason, or if we're in the spot we're in right now. If I have pulled back the offer to sell my team and I have Shohei Ohtani on it, there is no other option than to try to secure the services for the rest of his career. There is simply no other option unless you are going to move him, restock the coffers, and then sell the team again. But to the point that Jay and I have made, if it ain't got Shohei Ohtani on the label, I don't know that you're getting the price that you want.
No, they need a rebuild, full on rebuild. Trout's gone, Rendon, try to get rid of him. Shohei gone, get rid of everybody. That's me.
It just feels it feels so terrible and nasty and like gross and dirty that we're so close to the Angels being able to have a say in what goes on in October, and it feels like we've been so far away from it actually happening the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, we got to acknowledge that they did get screwed this year with injuries. Like in 2 weeks span, they lost
no doubt
5 or 6 guys that really screwed them. Will they make the playoffs with them? Who knows? Maybe not. But that did pretty much put the nail in the coffin.
But that is true. But like those are guys who have now suffered injuries in many consecutive seasons. And if you don't have, there is no plan B for losing Mike Trout. But if you don't have depth options in your organization to plan for an Anthony Rendon loss, that is fucking on you 100% at this point. And like the Angels have built no organizational depth in that way. Like they can't withstand these losses. But that's been the case for a half decade now. And it never seems to change.
Yeah, it's a tough one to swallow if you're a Halos fan.
It makes me angry as a neutral baseball fan. Like I can't even imagine I can't even imagine being an Angels fan.
What? just for competitive balance purposes, when you've got a team that has the two greatest fucking players the sport has right now, and you can't figure out a way to make that work.
It also makes baseball, in a way, it makes me feel like it makes baseball look stupid, because it's like you can't get your best player by far, and like the guy who held that mantle for a decade-long period, into the fucking playoffs like one time. You can't get him in one time. Like, and I know it's not baseball's fault at all. Like, they've lowered the bar for the postseason, as we've discussed many times on this, to as low as it can basically go, hopefully.
I feel
and
like
the Angels
they did
still
it
can't clear
for
it.
the Angels. They changed that rule for the Angels, and they still couldn't get in.
Imagine if that was true, though. If it was really like
think about that,
internally,
Jay. Like,
if it was the Angels
think
rule.
about like the fact that they changed the schedule so that everyone has to play everyone. I truly believe that they changed that so that Shohei can be trotted around in every single ballpark. Like, I feel like they changed that rule because Shohei exists. They let more teams into the playoffs. I think it's because, like, man, these Angels are fucking stupid. So if they can't get into the playoffs, let's bring the playoffs to them. And they still couldn't get in. It would not surprise me at all if the extra wild card was for the fucking Angels, because like, every rule change is for marketing. It's not for like competitive battle. Yay, everyone, like, you know, owners are complaining. We want to accommodate the owners. It's always to appease the fans and for marketability. Bigger bases. What do people want more of? Stolen bases. All right, make the fucking bases bigger. Oh, what are people complaining about? Oh, the shift. We want more balls in play. We want people to get more hits. People love hits. People love action. All right, we'll ban the shift. What do people love? Who's the most popular player in the sport? Oh, Shohei Ohtani. Well, then let's have less games in division, and let's trot this motherfucker around the entire league. Attendance is up in some spots, but it's down in these other spots. All right, then put Shohei in every fucking ballpark. Let's change the rules for that. Like, it would not surprise me at all if the extra wild card was literally to help the Angels get into the playoffs so we could see Mike Trout and Shohei be there. And they couldn't not only could they not get there, they couldn't even be in the fucking conversation. They didn't even make it interesting. That's what's crazy. They didn't even make it interesting.
It's no longer endearing to be a loser, right? Like, there was an era in baseball history where like the lovable loser thing had real like cultural cachet, right? And the Cubs cashed in on it. The Red Sox rode that for a while. Like, Trout and Ohtani being on a perpetual loser pisses me off, and the world is too cynical now to put up with this bullshit. Like, get in the playoffs. You need to be in there, and like, we can keep yelling that. It's over for this situation. Like, this was the call at the beginning of the year, and it looked promising, and it's just not there anymore. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ohtani on his next team. I'm over seeing him dragged down by this bullshit.
What's cool to think about, Jay, is, and it is, you know, the demise of one era will mark the beginning of another, and the acquisition of Shohei Ohtani could very much be like the acquisition of Babe Ruth, in a sense where it sets an organization off on a trajectory that could be everlasting. Like, you're about to acquire the greatest baseball talent that has ever been known. Ever. What that can do for a franchise, as we know, could be fucking massive.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like, I think when you talk about Shohei being the greatest baseball player ever, you don't even need to be the greatest baseball player ever to have that lasting effect, right? Like, we were just in Seattle for the All-Star game. They're still talking about Ichiro there. He's been gone for a long time. Like, his MVP season was in 2001. You know, like you're a generational type talent that can go to a certain organization and be that figure. Even it's not even while you're there. After you're gone, you can still be that guy. So the fact that, you know, I had to have this realization with myself when Mookie Betts went to the Dodgers. Having that conversation with myself of Mookie will be with the Dodgers for longer than he was ever with the Red Sox. That's crazy to me. But the entire conversation around Shohei Ohtani was always first and foremost how great he is, and then immediately it goes to, well, is he ever going to be in the playoffs? And like the shitty teams that get built around Shohei Ohtani with the Angels, eventually, to talking about what Jay Hayes said, like I'm pissed off as a neutral fan. I'm for Angel fans. We're going to get to a point, hopefully, where Shohei Ohtani is free from all that, and he's going to go to a team that is going to build a contender around him. We will see him in the playoffs, hopefully multiple times, maybe even win a championship or two. Like that is on the horizon because he, unlike Mike Trout, did not agree to stay in Anaheim for his whole fucking career.
You know what it feels like, Jared? Just to give a little Titanic reference.
What does it feel like?
It feels like Shohei and Trout are on the floating piece of driftwood. They're on the door, right? Mm-hmm. And you and I are in the boat. We're just circling around trying to pick folks up. Mm-hmm. And we see Shohei and we're like, bro, we got to go back. We got to go back. And both of us reach out to grab each arm of Shohei. And we're like, hey, Mike, you good here? We'll be back. Like I feel like you can make it. We'll be, bye, Mike. Bye, Mike. Like, hey, man, you wanted the door. And we grabbed Shohei, but it feels like everybody's almost okay with that now. Like, all right, look, if Trout has to be the one to fall under the axe to get Shohei out of there, then so be it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels that way.
It does.
I hate that.
Well, that was talking Shohei.
Sugoi!
Shohei Ohtani.
Speaking of Ichiro, well, I'm sure. Go ahead.
Well, my thing that stood out to me over the weekend, the Philadelphia Phillies, they're back. They just swept the San Diego Padres, and they have the best record. So this is the Phillies were a season worst 7 games under 500 on June 2nd. Since then, they've won 26 out of 36 to move to a season high 9 games over 500. They're 51-42. Only the Braves have had a better record in the big leagues, and their playoff odds coming into today, which is Monday, are up to 69.4%. The fighting Phils, dude. How do you feel about your Phils, Joe?
I love it for my Phils. I don't know. I'm nervous for my Braves because this just feels like a deja vu situation. Like if you're looking at the Braves and you're looking at, I saw a mock thing of the playoffs yesterday. They had all the teams in there. I don't even think the Phillies were in it when this was posted. And I was looking at it like, oh, the Braves are in the World Series easily. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I think the Phillies are like the one, probably the biggest threat in a playoff series other than the Braves. I think they scare me more than even the Dodgers, just because really? like the Reds could win their next 40 games. All right. Like if you're playing them in the playoffs, if you're starting Brandon Williamson, I'm not really thinking this is going to be like that tough of a series. But the Phillies with Nola, with Wheeler, and then with Taijuan Walker, and that how deep the lineup is, like they are a scary team. Even if they got off to a slow start, it really doesn't matter, as you can see how they're playing now.
Yeah, they're only a half game back of the D-backs for the 3rd wild card spot, and it's pretty crowded right now. Like you have the Giants, Marlins, and D-backs all have a wild card spot, but the Giants and Marlins are separated by 1 percentage point, and then a half game back of the D-backs, and then a half game back of that. Like the Phillies realistically could have the top wild card spot by like tomorrow. So we'll see. The Giants still playing good ball. Just won 5 straight.
The interesting thing to me about the Phillies situation is the announcement. Yeah, I think it was yesterday that Bryce Harper is going to play some first base this week. And what the implications are for that, for the defense. We don't need to turn this into a Schwarber thing, but Schwarber is arguably the worst defensive player in baseball. by the numbers this season. And when Harper goes to first, that means Schwarber gets more time at DH. And they can trot out, with that Johan Rojas, with him, they could trot out a pretty premium defensive outfield if they wanted to go that way. They could also go a couple of other ways, but I don't know if it's going to have a big impact. But if Harper can play first base a couple of times a week, I really like what that gives them, the added versatility it gives them defensively, because when he wasn't doing that and Schwarber had to play the outfield basically to play, that's just a clunkier fit, and that's not when they're at their best, I don't think.
Well, see what happens with the Phils. But it is wedding season. Love is in the air. Looking sharp all wedding season. It shouldn't be expensive. With a custom fitted suit from Indochino, you'll create priceless memories without costing a fortune. Customize every detail on your suit, shirt, dinner jacket, and more in a range of colors. From a traditional black or gray to a burgundy or olive to a classic Hemsworth navy. I have a wedding coming up in just a few weeks. Indochino hooking it up. Gonna be looking snazzy for wedding season. Every suit is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every single detail. Create a suit that fits you and your family perfectly, with options for fabrics, lapel shape, custom monograms, statement linings, and more. They also have tuxedos starting at $579. Why rent when you could just buy a custom tux and you can rewear it for years to come? Indochino also offers completely custom fitted shirts, casual wear, and more. Get a superior wardrobe personalized to your style and taste without the luxury price tag. They're always adding new pieces and options so you can stay on trend and in style. Explore their relaxed yet refined approach to spring suits with their new spring fabrics. RSVP knowing that you've got the perfect look for wedding season, all wedding season long from Indochino. Go to Indochino.com, use the promo code DEAD, D-E-A-D, to get 10% off any purchase of $399 or more. That is INDOCHINO.com. Promo code DEAD. And I'm just going to give myself a pat on the back here because my ad reads have come a long way. They've come a long way from... What are you laughing at, Dallas?
Oh, I mean, you're just you're that much better of a reader these days, which is good to see.
This is, I believe this is from before the 2018 season. So a past life for me. This is from March 2018 from our old podcast. Wait for Dallas's howl in the background for how far I've come in terms of being able to read. This Blue Apron read, there's going to be some words in here that I don't know how to pronounce.
I'm excited.
I'm just warning you.
Go for it. Do it.
Oh, wow. Is the leading meal kit delivery service in the United States. And while many people know what we do, many people don't know about the types of meals you can eat when you cook with like quick bucatini.
Oh my God.
And and pecorino cheese. An Italian style shrimp. It's come a long way. It's come a long way.
Oh, yeah. I think it's just better if we stay away from you reading ingredients.
Good for
Holy
get a
shit.
free ad there.
Yeah, Jake, bleep that. Jake, bleep the name of the company.
Yeah, it didn't take Jared 15 minutes to take a shit. It took him 14 and a half minutes to figure out how to read the shampoo bottle ingredients.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah, I've come a long way. You know, I even sound different. I feel like my balls dropped a little bit. I feel like I speak with more bass in my voice than I did at the. That's the difference of a championship season. I was a boy back then. Now I'm a man. Now I'm a man.
Ironically,
Big
that
difference.
was the year the Red Sox won the World Series, and now they're shit.
No, they're not. They actually have a path now. I don't know if you saw that, but I'm not gonna get into all that. We're just gonna wait and see. I don't know that, like, that's a big question that I have with myself is, will I be as insufferable the next time the Red Sox win the World Series as I was in 2018? I don't know. I feel like, is that because I know Dallas can't relate. I think it's like a genetic thing. Like, it can just be dormant within you. I don't think it's an age maturity thing. I think it's more just when you get there and you win a championship, it does something to your brain chemically. I can't control that. So I don't know. I honestly, I don't know how I'm going to act. I would like to think that I would handle my 5th ring with more class than I handled the 4th, but I don't know. It's not something that I'm going to have to worry about this year, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the New York Yankees have joined the Red Sox in last place. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I just didn't think I didn't have either team being competitive there. But
the New York Yankees technically are in last place alone. They have identical records. They're both 9 games back of first place. But because of the head-to-head, the tiebreaker, Red Sox are above the New York Yankees. But I did see this report today. This from Mark Feinsand, and he says, it has been well documented that the Yankees are seeking corner outfield help by the trade deadline. But according to sources, New York is also seeking to upgrade its catching, starting rotation, and back end of the bullpen in the next 2 weeks. So essentially, they just want a whole new team. That's what they're
looking for a left fielder, a right fielder, some bullpen help.
Yeah, a couple starters. They want 2 new catchers and a shortstop, maybe second baseman, some help at first base. And if they can get someone to take over for Donaldson, who's now injured at third base, then now we're cooking.
Sounds like they need Shohei Ohtani. He does all of it.
Not a tall ask. Yeah, I mean, Ohtani, he literally checks a couple of those boxes. You need offense, done. You need pitching, done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
but the Red Sox, on the other hand, with the same record, are going to do nothing.
I didn't say that.
Well, that's the vibe I'm getting from like the wind, my sources.
Yeah, does it feel, Joe? Does it feel like the Red Sox are an organization right now that are kind of just happy to be in any sort of wild card postseason conversation?
They have the best record in baseball this month.
Well, is that the vibe you're getting too?
I'm the Red Sox are happy to be there.
Like,
this is as good as it's going to get. Yep.
Right. Not going to make a big splash. Like, we're not going to do that. We are one of those teams that are here to tell you that we are okay with the playoff bar being lowered. The more people in, the better. We like to be a part of that group. And yeah, that's kind of the energy that you're getting.
Well, that's what I said earlier in the season. Like, the Red Sox hope, their freaking golden, whatever, their North Star, their goal is just sneak into the playoffs, get like a viral song that everyone can rally around for, maybe, get in the ALCS, and everyone likes the song and get some clicks and stuff. Sell some T-shirts.
Yep.
Which is fun. I mean, that's good. That's a good place to be.
That's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Every team would love a song. A lot of fan bases would love a viral song, a viral little skit. They all do, rally around.
Skit.
Yeah.
A viral skit.
Maybe something they could sing after Sweet Caroline.
Mm-hmm.
Just something.
I hate that song.
Just something.
Yeah, I don't like that song, but I'm just saying. The Yankees are saying that they're buyers. They're buyers at the deadline. They're a last place team. They are buyers.
That is funny to think about. They are last place, and they are definitely buyers.
Mm-hmm.
They will buy.
Just two out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what thanks to the Shohei Ohtani rule, the new playoff format, the Yankees are buyers in last place. I guess we'll see. We'll see what they do. But it is it's dire out there. I mean, the fans are as delusional as ever. But you know, let's try and cheer them up with the baseball is dead parlay that's going to hit today. Get that winning feeling from the gridiron to the diamond and beyond with DraftKings Sportsbook. With money lines, props, parlays, and more, you can bet your favorite sports and take shot at huge wins. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can score $150 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5 on anything, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance, opt-in, and 10-plus leg requirement for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. At the risk of getting cucked, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go first in my pick.
Wow.
My Hail Mary pick. Shohei Ohtani to homer. Shohei Ohtani to homer. He hit 2 home runs over the weekend. He leads Major League Baseball in slugging percentage against right-handed pitching. 681. 681 slug to lead MLB. That is 51 points higher than the next closest. That's Matt Olson. He has 50. His slugging percentage is 51 points higher than the next closest. Leads MLB in slugging percentage versus right-handed pitching. And he's going up against Luis Severino tonight, who should be bagging groceries at fucking Market Basket. He's got a 7.38 ERA. My only concern is that Aaron Boone doesn't let him see the third inning. That's how much Luis Severino sucks. But even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. Shohei probably going to hit a home run anyway. The pick is Shohei to homer.
Showtime to homer. I mean, I can get on board with the Showtime homer. No doubt. No doubt. I'm going to head in a little different route. As you guys have probably noticed, I like to keep things centrally located on the mound. No change here. Got a couple different plays that I could potentially offer you, but I think
pick
where
the
we're
good
going
one
here. I think where we're going here. Well, look, Luzardo plus 115, taking the over on 6.5 punch outs. And here's why. Because over his last 4 starts, Jesus Luzardo has punched out at least 8. So it was 9 punch outs against the Pirates, 9 punch outs against the Sox. He punched out 8 last time against the St. Louis Cardinals, punched out 9 against Philly, and he'll be going against those same St. Louis Cardinals once again. And I know what you're thinking. Dallas, they just saw him 2 starts ago. Isn't there going to be an adjustment made? Anytime a guy goes out on the mound and is able to generate that kind of swing and miss, I like to think that he's got a pretty good idea of why it happened, and he should be able to repeat something similar to that. So, Luzardo plus 115 over 6.5 on the punch outs.
Beast. All right, Jay.
I'm going Giants on the road against the Reds tonight. Giants going to bring home the victory, the money line. I like Logan Webb on the bumpy. Scoreless in 13 career innings against the Reds, and they have not seen him, to Dallas's point, this season. So could still be fresh looking. But yeah, I'm taking the Giants on the road, minus 145.
Joseph?
I'm going with Mookie. Not Mookie Betts. I'm talking Mike Mookie Moustakas. Okay, Mike Mookie Moustakas. He's hot. He's gotten hits. His past 6 games. New team. new Mookie, you know, and he's facing Severino. And he's,
why are you calling him that?
well, you know, multiple people can have the same nickname.
Mhm.
We know that we've talked about this already. And
yeah,
I'm
we've already
saying,
gone over this on the podcast, Jared. Like,
yeah,
you didn't know that you didn't know about Mookie Moustakis?
I would say people are calling him Mookie now. Now he's in LA, you know, new guy, new nickname, you know, there's a Mookie.
Moustakis.
Like Mookie Moustakis. There's a new Mookie in town. And he's hitting pretty well for the Angels. He's killed Severino his whole career, and he's hot. And Severino, as Jared mentioned, not doing so well right now. I'm just taking him to get a hit, you know, because you take a guy like Mookie Moustakis, you know, not as high profile as Shohei. If you bet Shohei to get a hit, and they probably not even give it to you. You know, you get minus 4,000 odds. Moustakis, I think it's like 160, minus 160. Perfect parlay pick. He'll get a hit.
Mike Mookie Moustakis. I can't
It's a
wait for
nickname.
him to hit a home run so I can tweet that clip with a Mookie. Mookie. Yeah. People don't know that. People don't know that about old Moose. Drop the Moose, pick up the Mook. Good for him. The Blue Jays have said that they have a quote unquote strong interest in a reunion. Did you see this, Dallas?
With?
Well, who do you think? If they're trying to win the division and make me look smart, who's someone that they could reunite with?
Bautista.
Jose Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion.
Old Joseph Batts.
And
Jack
Josh
Morris.
Donaldson. They're trying to bring back
Ed
Murderers
Sprague?
Row. Bautista, Encarnacion, Donaldson. Russell Martin. Bring it back. Just
What are they going with Teoscar?
a buffet of righties. No, but that's a good idea too. Bring back Teoscar Hernandez. Marcus Stroman. They're interested in. Which I don't know. Like, I mean, we all know that Marcus Stroman is a very unique individual and that his brain operates in a way that very few of us could ever understand. Not necessarily. I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, it works for him. He's back to dominating, just shoved it up the Red Sox ass on Saturday. Having a great season. He'll be in the Cy Young conversation in the National League. As long as he stays in the National League, he could get dealt to the American League, especially since we're talking about the Blue Jays here. But I don't know that. I don't think he has a say, but I don't want to speak for him. I can't imagine that that's a destination he would want to return to. I know he still has love for Blue Jays fans, but I feel like he was slighted by the Blue Jays organization on the way out, which is kind of how a lot of those guys feel on the way out. Like, I don't know that Donaldson feels super strongly about them. I know that Jose Bautista, like a lot of the stars that had their peaks in Toronto, I don't know that they're very fond of the organization. So, but who knows? Maybe if he returns to Toronto, they pay him to stay. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of happy ending there. But I did find it very interesting that the Blue Jays were interested in bringing Stroman back.
Well, why wouldn't they be interested with the way that he's thrown the ball? I mean, his last few outings have not been great, but the last one, his most recent one against Boston, as you said, Jared, was good. You know, 6 innings, 1 run or whatever. And this is a guy, when you start getting into the postseason or down the stretch, you talk about keeping the ball in the yard, staying away from damage. That becomes really important. Something Marcus Stroman has been exceptional at, keeping the ball in the yard. I would like to think that ultimately, if you're worried about or concerned about winning a championship, the best place to do that is now in the moment. That's where your head is. You're thinking about that. If you're thinking about anything beyond that, well then, yeah, there's some probably external circumstances that factor into that decision making. But if the goal is to win right here, right now, and we'll worry about the rest later, then I think much like GMs talk about having to pick up the phone and at least have the conversation, I think you have to at least entertain what that could look like. Because what's he have left on his deal?
He's a free agent after this year.
He's a free agent after, so then, I mean, why not? Like, we've already been down this road before. This is just business at this point. I know how I'm going to feel about you after the fact. And frankly, now that I've already gotten my cake, like, you don't affect me. You don't affect me at all. Because Stroman doesn't he have an option? Doesn't he have a player option for 24?
I don't think so. Let's see.
I thought, why did I think he had a fucking player option for whatever reason? Because are you sure?
I'm gonna double check that right now. It was 3 years, $71 million. Stroman may opt out of his contract after the 2023 season. So it's $21 million. He signed as a free agent with the Cubs, $25 million, then $25 million. The deal for next year is $21 million. 2024 salary increases by $2 million each with 160 innings pitched in 2022 or 2023. So it would still be 23. So he can opt out after this year, which he obviously is going to.
Yeah, and so if that's the case, he's like the whole, I just had a bad taste in my mouth on the way out the door, blah, blah, blah. Like, if I'm only going to be here for 2 months, and I know in my heart of hearts that you and I are not going to be discussing an extension beyond this, or at least I know that I'm not interested in coming back and staying here for an extended period of time, but you offer me the best chance to get to the postseason right now, why would I not take that?
Sure.
Why would I not take that?
Sure. I mean, I don't know. Again,
and that's why if you're Stro, you just hope that there's other suitors. You hope that there's more suitors that, maybe you're more comfortable with if indeed the front office relationship would be an issue or a hurdle of any sort. But I like to your point about his brain operating differently. For me as a competitor, I know the work is getting done on the field and in the clubhouse. And I know that what the future looks like, if I'm already comfortable with it not involving the Toronto Blue Jays, then I'm more than okay with being here. Because I know it's only going to be for 2 months. And it's only because this is the best opportunity to win a ring that I had in front of me.
And I know that fans feel a certain type of way about Stroman because, he'll block people on Twitter or whatever. But when I was at Wrigley, I was talking to some of the guys on the Cubs about Stroman, and they all fucking love him. So it's like, it's very David Price-like, where there's this kind of, combative relationship with the fans, but everyone in the clubhouse loves the guy. So I guess, and at the end of the day, that's all. Like, if you have concerns about we don't want to we got a good thing going over here and we don't want to bring something in here that's going to disrupt that, I don't think that there's any concern there. Like, if you're a team that's in the market for Marcus Stroman, that you should know that his teammates will love him. I mean, there may be a combative relationship with the media in some corner of the fan base, but outside of that, like the guys in the clubhouse are fans.
And if I'm a decision maker, you want to know where my priorities lie? With the guys in the clubhouse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry that you media folks don't like the responses you get. And I'm sorry that he won't sign autographs, or I'm sorry that your interaction with him is not as bubbly and positive as you want it to be. You know what is nice? The wins.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what else is nice? Is the guys in that room being comfortable with this individual. So whoever that individual is, them being comfortable in the room, priority number one.
Even like how, I mean, you can speak to this, Dallas, that starters, position players, they run in different cliques.
Mm-hmm.
He's tight with like the position players too. Like,
yeah.
he was out there taking grounders at third base.
Mm-hmm.
He was just out there just like fucking around with the infielders, taking grounders at third base just to kind of stay sharp or bond with the infielders, have a relationship with all teammates instead of just other starters. Like, he was doing that shit.
Well, that's like, dude, I was the same way. Like all the homies, like all the road dogs that I was rolling with out and about, there was one pitcher and the rest are position players. Like that's just, everybody operates differently. So I wouldn't see an issue with that. I would hope that Marcus has other options? Should that be the case because he's pitched well enough to deserve those other options?
I want him to go to the D-backs.
So we'll see. D-backs, huh?
Yeah, that's my pick. I think seeing him with Zach Allen would be really fucking cool.
I'd give him a nice top.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're no stranger to throwing around money too. They'll randomly just splurge. They've lost 4 straight. They've lost 8 of 10. They've fallen to 2 back. They're in 3rd place. They were kind of sitting pretty in 1st place for a little while, but the Giants have now passed them after winning 5 straight. The Dodgers have passed them, but it's still a tight race. You get the Dodgers, a game and a half back, are the Giants, and then 2 back, half back are the D-backs. Have we all closed the books on the Padres? The Padres are toast for this year?
Yeah. Yes.
Shohei? Toast? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joseph? Toast?
They could sneak a wild card.
Could they?
Yeah.
What the hell?
They could sneak.
What the hell?
You don't want to close the book too early.
They're 8 back, bro.
They got some
They're
pop.
8 back.
They got some pop.
So you're as confident in the Padres as you are the Mets, then?
No, I'm way more confident in the Padres and the Mets. If we're talking about closing books, that book's been closed. And I'm not saying the Padres are even gonna make the playoffs. I'm just saying I could see it happening. I could see them winning 12 games in a row. It could fucking happen.
It's not.
It could happen. The Rays won the first month worth of games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they win.
They really did.
They've won 8 games in a row. What are they? 4 back? Come on.
Something like that. Either way.
They got pop.
They got pop.
They got Gary Sanchez.
They got Gary Sanchez. They got Blake Snell, who's been absolutely in deal fest mode for like a month now or 2 months. Blake Snell, let's pull up those numbers. His ERA is like half a run over his last, he's in like double-digit starts now that he's been doing this. And perhaps not coincidentally, it's been all with Gary Sanchez.
And to that point, like, isn't it funny how that works? Like, I know I'm in a little bit of an echo chamber with the Gary Sanchez stuff being so close to New York City, but like, it was deafening how Gary Sanchez was ruining that pitching staff with his lack of ability defensively and with game calling. And I'm sure there was some level of truth to him having issues back there, but as Jared pointed out, he's been the guy for the Blake Snell run, and I don't really hear him getting any sort of game calling or defensive credit for that. I just think that's mostly fucking bullshit anyway.
Well,
the catcher,
you know where that comes from? You know where that comes from?
Where?
Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole saying
Wow.
Kyle Higashioka is my catcher. And then you've got all these other slapdick pitchers in the Yankees rotation being like, well, if Garrett Cole prefers Kyle Higashioka, then why shouldn't I? Like, Garrett Cole, he's Garrett Cole. He's the fucking highest paid pitcher, yada, yada. Meanwhile, Gary Sanchez unjustly gets cast off to the fucking Mexican League.
Unjustly.
He gets cast off to the fucking Mexican League. Next thing you know, he's scratching and clawing, trying to get back into the big leagues. The Padres give him a chance. And next thing you know, 10 starts for Blake Snell and a 0.62 ERA, 156 batting average against, 58
I'm more inclined
innings,
to give credit to the guy on the mound.
58 innings, 91 strikeouts, an opponent's OPS of just 458, 10 starts, just fucking dealing, all because of Gary Sanchez, all because Garrett Cole cast him away and allowed him to leave the Yankees organization and end up with the San Diego Padres.
Dallas can say that he wants to give the credit to the pitcher, but all I know are what the numbers say. And I know that his ERA, Austin Nola, when he caught, was 7.36 in 5 starts.
Holy shit.
0.51 or whatever it was, much better. It's much better than 7.36.
It's much better.
His ERA in 9 starts without Gary, 5.55. No, excuse me, 5.40. 5.40, but with a 5.55 FIP.
That's like 10 times higher.
I'm just inclined. I'm inclined to give credit to a guy who's won a Cy Young.
What do you have? What do you have against
to
Blake
give
Snell?
A guy who has been
Or Gary
cast
Sanchez
off
rather?
to the Mexican League the credit? That's just me. That's just me.
Why? What do you have against Gary?
I don't have anything against Gary.
Do you
I
fat
just said,
shame people? Are you a fat shamer?
No, you were the one who did that early with Gary.
No, I did. I've never said anything about him in a derogatory manner.
No, you did. You said Gary was too busy trying to catch slices of pies in his mouth to worry about catching fastballs from the Yankees pitching staff.
Wow.
Your words,
now it all
not
comes
mine.
out.
Why does he not get?
That's a bad take, Jared.
Why does he not
Being
get
fat
credit
makes you better
as?
at catching.
Yeah, why does he not get credit as a defense first catcher now? He's batting 188 this season with a 662 OPS, and he's just lighting it up, catching the ball. And nobody wants to give Gary the new Yachty. That's what some are saying.
Gary
That's what
is
Jared's
to
been
Blake
saying.
Snell, is Doug Mirabelli is to Tim Wakefield. It is a tandem you just absolutely cannot break up. You can't do it.
The new Wayno Yachty.
Gary, yeah, that's truly what it is. And they might be better.
Well, I think they are better.
Yeah.
Gary's certainly holding up his end of the bargain.
I've never seen Adam Wainwright with a half a run ERA before.
Nope.
Blake Snell does this every year. Second half of the year, he's lights out. He's got an ERA is 1 run lower in the second half than his first half ERA his whole career.
Just a slow starter.
Yeah, what the hell
So you
happens?
think he's slow now? When will the fat joke stop, Dallas?
I mean, they never started with me.
Interesting. Sounds like you're making fat jokes about a guy that has been working really hard, by the way. I'm working really hard on getting some more blue moons into my house. Actually, I got a shipment of 4. It's either 4 or 6 I think it was 4 boxes of blue moon on my doorstep on Friday. My poor mother is out there with a box cutter trying to cut open these boxes, and she's like, "There's just boxes and boxes of blue moon on your front doorstep." And I was like, "Mom,
got your mom
I'll handle
schlepping crates of blue moon upstairs into your house." That is
I was like,
pathetic.
no, not upstairs. The fridge, as you know, because you raided my fridge of blue moons when you were here. The fridge is downstairs. I was like, listen, I'll handle it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, 4 boxes of blue moon direct to my doorstep. And that was like Christmas morning. You know what else feels like Christmas morning? The playoffs. And the playoffs are right around the corner. So it's time to help your team out by sticking to your lucky rituals, like the ritual of enjoying an ice cold blue moon while the game is on. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Make it your one-of-a-kind baseball tradition, whether you're at the park or watching from home. I'll be at the park this weekend. Mets are in town, blue moon in hand. I'm probably going to meet up with like the 7-line guys. Mets fans are great. Out of all the opposing fan bases that come in that we host here at Fenway Park, Mets fans are by far the greatest because they'll do the Yankees suck chants together. They're just happy to be there. They're like, hey, you guys hate the Yankees, we hate the Yankees. It's a whole thing. It's very exciting when the Mets fans come to town, and it'll be even nicer because they suck. Like that team fucking blows. So that's an easy series win for the Sox. We'll get to that on Name Redacted. We're looking forward to Jake's prediction for that. But Jake's going to be fucking drinking some blue moons this weekend. I know that's a guarantee with its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander. Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by Baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that's one of a kind? Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Brighten up your baseball traditions with Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale. It's a one-of-a-kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket to find Blue Moon delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/rocket. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale. And Jay, hey, it is fucking time.
Oh, wow, brings a tear to my eye. For the 5th time this season, we are all gathered here to celebrate the newest member of Club 38.8, and that is friend of all podcasts that we've ever done, Christian Yelich. Wow, so born in 1991, drafted in 2010, debuted in 2013, won an MVP in 18 and a batting title in 19, purchased a home in Arizona in 2021, and now in 2023, he crosses the Baines line to be the newest inductee, the 5th one this season. A few fun facts, actually some interesting statistical similarities between Harold Baines and Christian Yelich. Nearly the exact same career batting average, the exact same career slugging, and they've been caught stealing the exact same number of times, 34. The only difference being that Christian Yelich has 177 stolen bases, whereas Harold Baines stole 34 bases and was also caught 34 times. Not known for being fleet of foot. Fun fact there. But congratulations to Christian. He passes the 38.8 mark in 47% as many games played as Harold Baines. So I'm sure this is a massive day in the Yelich household. He's usually pretty understated from the interviews that we've done, but we know he's cherishing this. I tagged him in the photo for the tweet today, so I'm sure he saw it also, and is really, really holding it dear. So the class is now 5 deep in 2023, and we look forward to inducting more people so far this season. Thank you.
Retweet it. Christian Yelich.
I mean, a real who's who this year. You know what I mean, though? A lot of people have been comparing it to the great Babe Ruth, Walter Johnson Hall of Fame class, that first one in the door. A lot of people are saying Yelich, Hayward, Judge, Marte, and Lindor.
That's a big class.
It's a big class, and I got great news. It will be getting bigger this season.
Oh!
We are not done. You thought we were done, but we're not done, because we've got some household names surging forth. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants it now. That's the thing. I think now that it's a real, true blue milestone, you have players kind of like locking in and being like, okay, like, I can't do this season, but the milestone I can get to is 38.8. So let's fucking do it.
Let's lock in. Yeah.
Marcus Semien being a great example of that, where he's just, fucking overdrive on his WAR. And it's like, I want to celebrate this in a special season for the Rangers and a special season for Marcus. So we'll see whether he can get there, but I believe he's the next up.
Wow. That'll be will that be a bittersweet moment for you, Dallas?
It'll be good. 2 former A's greats who are essentially passing like 2 ships in the night.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be very symbolic. I love the symbology on that one.
Don't be afraid to leverage your contacts and get Marcus on for the pod, Dallas, if you want to. Yeah. I know
Christian as well.
Yeah, I know Christian said he's going to get back to us, and Francisco said he's going to get back to us, and Aaron said he's going to get back to us, and I believe Starling and Jason also said they were going to get back to us. So I think it really could be cool once we get that first one. Take the meter to another level. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be pretty big. We need to talk about a series that happened over the weekend between the Cincinnati Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers. And you know what, Brewers fans? They're not happy with me. They're not happy because I've been loving up on the Cincinnati Reds. And then here we go. Milwaukee Some Brewers fan even said that Dallas has more clout in Milwaukee than I do, which is comically false.
I don't know about it, buddy. But the Brewers slide burning. I mean, there was a lot going on when I was in Milwaukee.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you went down the Brewers slide because you used my contacts with the Brewers. So that's just, that begins and ends the conversation right there.
That's not true.
It is. The Milwaukee Brewers swept, blanked, demolished the Cincinnati Reds over the weekend. It was a historic sweep for the Milwaukee Brewers, who came out and just shut down the Cincinnati Reds lineup, which, let's face it, the Reds are all offense. You're not gonna trot out the Cincinnati Reds in a series and be like, oh, what are the pitching matchups? Like, who do they have on the bump today? Like, that's gonna be must watch. Like, you've got a lot of guys. Like, I want to say, who's the righty that they've got that has like a fucking 7.5, but they've won 10 straight of his starts because of the offense.
For the Reds?
Yeah.
Ashcraft.
I was going to say Ashcraft, but he's been hurt.
Nope.
Williamson.
Let's see. Nope. It is fucking. I'm gonna find it right now.
Well, it ain't Lodolo and it ain't
Luke
fucking
Weaver.
Luke Weaver. Yeah, it's Luke Weaver. Yeah, Luke Weaver. He's been ass cheeks, but they win when he pitches. He goes out there, gives up a solid 7, and Reds win.
Yep.
They're calling him Lucky Luke.
No joke. They've won 8 straight of his starts, and he has an 8.66 over that span.
See?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Knows how to
Lucky
win.
Luke.
Unbelievable.
Lucky Luke goes out there and gets a job done. Reds weren't so lucky this weekend. Milwaukee Brewers go out there, do the damn thing, and sweep the Cincinnati Reds, which now means the new standings update. The Milwaukee Brewers, 52-42, 10 games over 500 with a -8 run differential. They've won 4 straight in 7-10 to take a 2-game lead in the standings in the NL Central over the Cincinnati Reds, who are 50-44. They have a -14 run differential. The Chicago Cubs, who everyone is talking about as sellers, are the only team in the division with a positive run differential at +21. They're 6 games under and 8 games back.
You're talking about this offense for the Cincinnati Reds. That is what happened or what did not happen during this series. They got absolutely silenced.
Yes.
Silenced. 3 runs, 10 hits over a 3-game series. And all 3 of those runs and 7 of those 10 hits came on Sunday.
The same game, yeah.
So not great. Not great. Ellie, over the series. Not a fucking knock. 0-for-12, 5 punch-outs.
Well, the other thing, too, is that, yes, they lost the last 3 games, but they also lost 2 of 3 to the Brewers going into the break. So over this stretch, they've lost 5 of 6 to the Brewers, which, as it relates to the NL Central, is like a massive, massive swing in favor of Milwaukee, obviously. But I mean, that's why this NL Central has been so hard to call and why it's been so difficult, you know, when we're asked whether we have balls or not to get off of one team. It's like one single series or a consecutive series, back-to-back series can have massive, massive impacts on postseason odds and outlooks.
This one seems like it's going to the wire. Bro, all these games are close. Freaking Corbin Burns, you see him pass out on the mound, just fainted, and then still pitched and shut him out.
Yeah.
Well, to that point too, like I think that's not been the only thing that has like been a surge for the Brewers, but the fact that he's back to being or has been, I think since the start of July, has been like the Cy Young caliber Corbin Burns, like 1.89 ERA over 19 innings pitched. Batters are hitting sub 100. So like if he's back, I think that kind of puts the Brewers back into the position that I think a lot of us thought they were entering the season, which is like that's a differentiator between them and the Reds for sure.
Well, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I'm going to go to September and I'm going to go to the end of September. The last 13 games for the Milwaukee Brewers, 10 of those are division games. 7 out of those 10 are against the St. Louis Cardinals. So they'll go 4 with the St. Louis Cardinals, 3 with Miami, 3 with the Cardinals again, and they'll finish up with the Cubs. So they are in a great position to take advantage of a lowly Cardinal team in the division and try to make a little noise at the very end against the Chicago Cubs.
Freddie Peralta, 6 one-hit innings with 6 punch-outs. Corbin Burns, 6 two-hit innings, 13 strikeouts. Beasted.
That's who the Brewers try to convince us they were going into the season. Yeah, our lineup is a bunch of, but we got pitchers. And Freddie Peralta hasn't been great this year.
No.
They really relied on Wade Miley a lot, who's done pretty good. And then Julio Teheran,
Yeah.
who's been pretty damn good. And they've outpitched Peralta. And even Corbin Burns in less starts, but still better ERA.
I know we have fun with the Baines meter too, but to go back to Yelich specifically, like I know he's their best player, so he's taken for granted a little bit, but we shouldn't overlook the fact that he this year has been a lot better than he was over the previous 3 seasons. Like, this is not MVP caliber Yelich, and I think we're on the same page that we're not going to be seeing that anymore. But from 2020 to 22, his OPS was 745, and it's 850 this year. Like this, and not only that, but he's been one of the huge beneficiaries of the change in stolen base stuff and base size and all of that. So he already has more stolen bases than he did in 64 more games played last season. So like he's having a much, much better season, and he's always been the driver of this offense, and they need him to be a star level player to be competent. And he has been a star level player this season.
Healthier.
And healthier
Without looking, what do you think the odds are of the Brewers winning the division?
I already looked earlier, so I'm not going to say.
Oh,
All right,
can I
don't
guess?
say it.
I'll
Yeah,
guess.
guess.
67%.
Dallas?
The odds of the Brewers winning the division.
Mm-hmm. They have a 2-game lead with half a season to go.
I'm going to say 34%.
72%
Wow.
on Fangraphs.
Wow. So they just
With
got
a
the Reds
2-game
completely
lead.
fucking falling off, huh?
The what? The Reds? Yeah. I thought you said the Mets. I was like, what? Yeah. 72% playoff odds for the Milwaukee Brewers to win that division.
The Reds get no respect. The numbers say the Reds
No respect.
suck.
Well,
It's because
look
the
at
Reds
Lucky
are just
Luke. Like that's
Yeah.
you go
Right.
on that stretch where you've got you have a starter with a fucking 8.66 ERA and you win all the games. Like that's not sustainable.
not only is it not sustainable, but again, they don't have a couple of their arms that they would really like to be relying on at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I
mean, Fangraphs basically
That's
Fangraphs has the Brewers basically being like 2 to 3 games better than the Reds over the remainder of the season. And so that coupled with an existing 2-game lead, like I'm not sure I agree with the math either, but like that's how you get there. Like the Brewers are projected to win 85.5 games and the Reds are projected to win 80.8. So if you're behind and you're what they see as an inferior roster,
good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
The Reds lost 4 in a row. Are they done? Are they falling off? I had a dream last night. I was watching Joey Votto and he hit a hard ball, but he got caught and he was pissed. So that could be something.
Also, in fairness, this same projection system has the Cardinals winning at the highest clip in the NL Central for the remainder of this season, and it's not even close. And that feels, I feel like that ship has sailed a little bit. Like I don't feel like the Cardinals are going to win at a 54% clip this season, but over the remainder. But I guess we'll see.
Depends what they do with the
like I
manager.
said, they got 7 games out of the last 13 of the Brewers schedule are against the St. Louis Cardinals. So do we got the Cardinals? You got the Cardinals taking 4 out of those? 4 out of those 7?
I wouldn't be surprised. That's the thing. This division is such a clusterfuck. It's like anyone can beat each other. Any of these teams could sweep the other team, and it wouldn't really be a shock.
No, I mean, trust me, as a team in the Oakland A's who went into Pittsburgh and took that series, went into Milwaukee and swept that series, it was like, hold on. I mean, you guys are like vying for first place in this division here. And here came the A's, swept them both.
Hell yeah. Put the A's in the Central. Let's see. Yeah, maybe get a couple more years
Buddy.
out in Oakland.
Now we're talking, Joe. Now we're talking.
The Atlanta Braves basically have a 25% chance of winning the World Series, which is double the chances of the next best team. Like the next best team is like 12 and change percent chance. The Braves are at 24.7%. The Rays are at 11.8. And the Dodgers are at 12.3. So they have more than double the odds to win the World Series. Simply stunning.
Seems low, be honest.
Seems low. Should be better.
Seems a little low.
Yeah. The Atlanta Braves are a good team.
I mean, imagine if they got Shohei. What would their odds be then? It could happen.
You think that they're in the market?
I would really, that's actually a good question. I don't think they're in the market, but like if Shohei goes to a team like overnight, what does that do to their playoff and World Series odds? That would be fascinating.
Breaking
Well, already
news,
100%
Shohei Ohtani
basically.
signs with the Atlanta Braves, 12 years, $32 million. He just really likes the chop house.
He loves the chop house. What are they like? Yeah, they're to make the playoffs, they're 100%. To win the division, they're 98.8%. Yeah, to win the World Series.
How boring of a second half for Braves fans.
Well, I mean, dude, we lost 3 out of 4. We just lost the series to the White Sox. Like, honestly, kind of in panic mode right now, and it's a much needed day off today. So, we're praying we're getting back on track. But yeah, it hasn't looked great. Like, I'm kind of questioning the fire right now. Got some questions, major questions.
I asked that question to Matt Olson. I said, "How do you guys stay focused when you're just winning every single day?" He said he just didn't give a shit. He's like, "I learned that in Oakland. You just got to show up, and who gives a fuck?" And I was like, "That I guess that works. That plays."
You just go out and attack the day.
Shout out to Charlie Culberson, who's been on the Braves, I guess. Well, I don't even know how long he's been on the Braves, but he's been on the Braves for at least 2 months. He did get kicked off the Braves, DFA, but brought back. And got his first at bat, and he got a hit. So he's batting 1,000 on the year. Took him 2 months, finally got in a game.
I mean, he's going to get a ring.
Don't jinx it. Charlie Championship Culberson.
I love that for him. Some quick injury news. Shane Bieber to the injured list with some forearm soreness. I think they got a positive update yesterday. I want to say it was that it's not. Okay, yeah. Shane Bieber got, quote, really encouraging news today after meeting with Dr. Meister. He'll go 2 weeks without throwing and will continue to be evaluated week by week, but they determined he does not need surgery. So he had the MRI a couple days ago. Really encouraging news that he doesn't need surgery, but I don't know that that's really encouraging news if you're a team looking to acquire Shane Bieber within the next 2 weeks. I don't think that you're going to go out there and be like, "Oh, he doesn't need surgery. Perfect. Here's one of our top 10 prospects for him." So that obviously puts a big damper on the trade value of Biebs and just the overall likelihood that he gets moved at all. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're Cleveland, do you trade him for less because it's buyer beware, or do you just say like, fuck it, like we might as well hang on to him if we're not going to get what we originally planned on getting for this guy?
I think you absolutely have to keep a guy like Bieber if you're in that spot, because do you think your return is going to be something that would that you could replace what you're getting from Bieber right now? I would say probably not.
No.
Do you think you could grow into something that could potentially replace what you're getting from Bieber right now? I would probably think not. So if that's the case, I would probably shift gears and try to take care of and figure out how we can best prepare Shane Bieber to take the mound every 5 days for us moving forward and get him to max health in, under the circumstances and go from there.
Hey, you're the resident Cleveland guy. What
I mean, the Guardians have as good of odds to make the postseason as the Reds do. So I think the notion that they should be trading Bieber or would have traded Bieber, I'm not disputing your reporting or your reading of the reporting. I'm just saying I think the idea that they would have entertained trading Shane Bieber is just nauseating. And I just don't I don't think he's the same guy. And I get that they generally do very well on these sorts of let's cashier this name brand. Like the most recent example being when they traded Corey Kluber and got, Emmanuel Clase, and I was all pissed. And obviously that trade looks awesome for the Guardians. I'm very tired of this guy's nearing the end of his contract, but he's not really that expensive in the context of baseball, but in the context of what we like to do, kind of expensive. So it's a churn that gets very fatiguing after a while. And Shane Bieber is one of the last truly recognizable players on the Guardians roster. And I just don't want it to be Jose Ramirez and a bunch of people that nobody knows or nobody has any attachment to or has no history or built up equity with the franchise. It doesn't do anything for me. Even if their postseason odds are not all that great, I still think, especially to your point about if you're taking 60 cents on the dollar because he's an injury question right now, that to me becomes even more absurd.
I mean, when they traded Kluber to Texas, didn't he pitch 1 inning?
Yeah, that was a catastrophic trade to the extent that trading a high-end reliever can be catastrophic. That was a disaster trade for the Rangers.
We got fucking smoked with a fucking comeback.
I understand. But I believe they had him for the next season after that and got basically nothing again.
No.
So
he went to the Yankees.
Oh, was it right after that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough. That's a tough one.
They traded Emmanuel Clase and my former teammate Delino DeShields to the Guardians in exchange for literally 1 inning of Corey Kluber.
Scoreless.
Also, lights out, bro.
1 inning in an abbreviated season as well. It was the 60-game.
So it makes that scoreless inning worth even more, really.
Yeah, because you have to extrapolate it.
Larger share of your team innings. I don't want
Corey Kluber
workhorse gets tossed around too liberally these days, but might apply here.
It very well might apply.
Well, if they traded Kluber during that season when they were contenders, don't you think that Bieber being traded would be on the table even if they want to make the playoffs?
That's what I was. Maybe I didn't say it clearly enough.
Kind of screwed.
I think Jared is correct that they were entertaining it. I'm saying I'm tired of them doing that.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like there's always a team. There's always a team out on the East Coast. Like anytime there's player movement possible, there's one team that shows unequivocally the most interest. There's no team more interested in players than the Boston Red Sox. They become as interested as anybody, and I can see how fans are like, bro, we get it. Somebody's available, and you might want them. Fabulous. Save the fucking 280-character tweet about it. We get it. You lead the league in interest. That's where Jay Hayes coming.
That just felt like a unnecessary thing.
No, just trying to give context. That's all. Just trying to give context. Nothing personal.
It felt personal.
I'm sorry.
Jake, did that feel personal?
That was personal.
Yeah, it was really personal. Yeah, I don't understand why you had to loop in the Red Sox to this conversation.
I'm sure we'll get there soon.
Yeah, whatever makes you feel better. Honestly, feel like you're gonna need it after we fucking dildo you this week again.
Nope.
Again.
Well, I'm hearing from reports that there's Red Sox are highly interested in A's infielder Aledmus Diaz.
That would make sense, I guess. I mean, why not? Why not add a fucking 6th shortstop to this team?
Be a big splash.
It'd be huge. He was pretty big in 2016?
They're not fully committed to it, Joe, but there's some mild interest.
Yeah. I have to give up a lot though, so you got to be careful in these trades. It could make or break a franchise.
Oh, you want Yoshida?
Now we're talking.
That's a quick turnaround because you said he was a piece of shit when you were in Boston a couple weeks ago.
Nope, didn't say that.
You did. Yeah, you did. He was taking batting practice, and you were like, how does this fat little midget hit the ball so hard?
No. Wow. Projection much? Projection? Jeez.
Whoa.
Wow.
I'll have I hired a personal trainer to combat the bullying.
Well, you need to be combating the bulge, not the bullying.
Oh,
you fat bastard. Sorry. I just need Masa to stay off the fucking elevated out of the zone heaters and keep those in the yard, please.
Yeah, no, doesn't matter. He just went took Justin Steele deep for a grand slam, left on left crime. All-star Justin Steele, I should say. Baseball's dead alumni Justin Steele. Sorry about it. A little 6-piece.
Speaking of the grand slam, hasn't there been a fun little conversation being kicked around about a potential home run derby?
Yeah, a Legends home run derby.
A Legends home run derby. Jay, hey, you were on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very on it.
Now, I mean, do you want to lay it out? Do you want to kind of explain? Since you were the one who sent this on the thread, I mean, I took a look, and I've even gone a step farther and have reached out to some legends of the past who would absolutely be in this category. And I got some interesting takes, some interesting responses. But
like fucking what's his name? Fucking Logan Powell. What's his name?
What?
The guy hit the furthest home run ever in the minors.
Yeah. What was it? How far is it?
500 something feet.
800 feet.
Who'd you reach out to, Dallas?
Well, I mean, their names are not going to be bantered about.
Why?
Because that's part of the respect. You know?
So you would choose to just disrespect our audience?
No, I would choose to maintain the level of trust and integrity that I have
you don't trust our audience.
Greatest players the game has ever known.
Untrustworthy, the people that listen to this podcast, is what you're saying.
We're 2 hours in. I'll get to it. Ken Griffey Jr., Albert Pujols, Jim Thome, and David Ortiz. So that's the jumping off point for this idea that Jason Stark published on The Athletic, where it's a Legends home run derby. Those 4 guys are in, quote unquote, I think unofficially was the idea. But, it kind of this is an idea that I think every baseball podcast in the world has kicked around at some point. But, I was just sort of assuming that it would be a field of 8, and it sort of got my mind wandering. And, one of those 4, I think, would be one of the people that I would personally choose to see in Jim Thome. He was like as good as it got for me in terms of home runs as a kid. And the other name that immediately...
He's got to be the oldest of the bunch, no?
The other one
He's 52.
Yeah, how old's Griff?
I don't know. He's starting to get some grays, though.
I think Griffey's older.
Jr. 53.
Yeah. I mean, the 2 names that immediately came to my mind were Thome and Manny Ramirez, because when... you were talking about you came to grips with Mookie being a Dodger longer than he's a Red Sox. Like, I had to come to grips with a similar situation growing up as a Manny Ramirez fan. And when he got into one, and, it was like, it wasn't showboating in like the modern sense, really, where there was like ridiculous bat flips every time, but there was just like this confidence when he hit the ball, and just this quick pose that was so cool to watch Manny homer, and like a beautiful like maybe the most beautiful right-handed swing that I've personally seen as an amateur viewer. But I just thought it was it's a cool idea, and I'd be curious to see who you guys would pick. But I also have some concerns that seeing a bunch of 50-year-olds try to hit home runs might break a little bit of the mystique that goes along with baseball legends and what you saw from them in their prime. And I wonder whether we really want to see. Yeah, but I just wonder whether we really want to see this. Like, it's interesting, but do we really want to?
That's it, because what you don't want to have happen is you settle in for this huge show that you're anticipating because 14-year-old, 16-year-old you is remembering what that looked like and what they were capable of. And now you're watching them walk up to the plate, probably a slight limp. There's going to be a groan and right? The first two swings might look like they are using the wrong bat, swinging wrong-handed, and then they start to ease into it. And so I'm with you, Jay. Like you don't want to watch Superman try to put on the dusty cape and take off flying, right? He fucking stumbles, falls off the building. You're like, well, fuck. Can somebody get Clark back up here? We got to do this again. Like, you just don't want that.
I think that is probably true with some guys, but Ken Griffey Jr. just took batting practice with Team USA, and he looked good. Manny Ramirez is still actively playing baseball, so he would do just fine. I don't know if you remember this story, but when Barry Bonds was the hitting coach for the Marlins, he had in spring training, he did a home run derby against the active players, which included Giancarlo Stanton and Christian Yelich and all these guys, and he won. So, like, even in their older age, there are, like, it's not necessarily, I can roll out of bed.
Give me Barry, give me Mac. Give me Barry, give me Big Mac. Those are two dudes right now that I believe would be able to run in.
So the other guys can too. Griffey can still do it. I think that I don't like Poppy. I think the last time that I had a conversation with David Ortiz about this, he said, I haven't picked up a bat since I retired. Like, it's not like these other guys, like Griffey's like, yeah, I'm going to be the hitting coach of Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. And then he gets in the cage and he can take BP and do whatever. Like, maybe these guys are still dicking around hitting. Poppy, according to him, has not taken a swing unless it's for like a commercial with CGI.
Let me tell you right now, I've been to Big Mac's house, and he's got a beautiful setup in terms of crushing baseballs. You want to crush baseballs? You want to crush baseballs in luxury? Like, you can do that. He's doing that. So, yeah, I would want, those are my two picks. Give me Barry, give me Big Mac.
What about
guys?
You know who's going to who's going to win it? Gary Sheffield. You know that video of him doing with the cigar?
Yeah, well, he was using a metal bat.
He's using a metal bat, but I don't give a shit.
I mean, he's still get the bat speed. You can give him a wood bat. And I think if they do this, it's not going to be big league fences. Like, you would move the fences in for these guys. No, is that fair or unfair?
No. See, what you have to do is exactly like if you read the article that Jason Stark wrote, which is a great
article. Give him the Aaron Judge balls from last year.
Well, no, you could do a combination of things. You can give him the Aaron Judge balls, but now you're not using the same system, right? Maybe you go back to, and they've talked about it, going back to the old days where you played 9 innings of a home run derby, and every ball that was hit that was not a home run was an out. And so now the next opponent comes up. So you're not asking, 55-year-old guys. I don't need King Griffey Jr. blowing an oblique and then not being able to catch his breath because he's trying to hit 40 fucking homers in a timed round like Julio. Like, we don't need that.
So no. I think the key point on where this will hinge as a success or not is, does it feel more like the home run derby or does it feel more like the celebrity softball game? Because if it takes on a celebrity softball feel where everything's moved in and it's gimmicky and these guys can barely fucking move, or if they go back to Dallas's point, if they go back to the really, really old format where it's basically like a fake baseball game kind of thing, then like I worry that I think the celebrity softball game sucks. And I think it's like one of the most unwatchable things that like happens in sports, but like, I'm sure it's fun to play. I just think it's lame to watch. And like, if it veers too far in that direction, I think it would be like, I guess it's what are the expectations? If it's just a harmless thing to fill up All-Star Weekend and some people like it, then cool. And you can check in if a legend participating is of particular interest to you. But I just worry it would become too sideshowy. I have very clear memories of these players. And to some extent, I'd like them to stay that way. Because I remember the end of Jim Thome's career, right? Like, the end of Manny's was so juiced up, it was like, well, he's still awesome. But like the end
allegedly.
Right. No, that one was confirmed, I think. The Dodger stuff was like nailed down.
He tested positive for a women's fertility drug,
right?
Which that's not steroids. Continue.
Well, it's not steroids. It is something else that we're not going to do this. Anyway, but I remember the end of Jim Thome's career, and it like wasn't fun. You know what I mean? So I'm just a little worried that that's what we would be seeing. But
Well, it's like you want to go and get your big brother because he's going to kick the bully's ass, but the last 4 times you went and got your big brother, he got fucking mopped up. And you're like, dude, I should probably just maybe stop talking shit to this bully or find a different way home because my big brother is not getting it done for me.
Give him
Also,
metal bats, give him juice balls, keep the fences the same.
Joey, I've been saying that.
the fences have to stay the same.
I've been saying that since '98. You put the fucking walls up, put the nets up, and give these guys metal bats and look the fuck out. Do not sell a ticket to anybody below the second deck and look the fuck out.
And you give 'em- and not the bullshit metal bats they have now. The fucking orange stealth, like the
No, I want
best one.
Big Mac hitting with the big green Easton. That's what I want. I want Mark McGwire hitting with the big green Easton.
I can't have the fences moved in though. Like I don't want to see Frank Thomas's Nugenics ass out there hitting 250 foot fake home runs. Like give me a break. No. Give me the real thing, or even if it's a slog, or give me nothing.
I'm interested. I want to see it. Just because like I'm it's not that I'm fully convinced, but I feel pretty good about the idea of the players that we discussed being able to put on a show versus like, oh, that's sad. Oh, sad. Like, I don't think these guys are going to be like popping balls up into the fucking cage. Like, I think they're going to be able to hit some homers.
Well, I'll tell you this. The common thread amongst a few of the guys that I talked to about this were like, we would do it. We would do it.
Good, great, grand, wonderful. And when they do it, I'm going to be wearing my knockaround sunglasses because summer's in full swing and you need a pair of great shades that you don't have to baby these things. Knockaround sunglasses are the go-to for quality polarized shades that won't break the bank. Plus, they just released the first 9 teams of their official MLB collection, including the Red Sox and Yankees. Yes, they have the Cubs, Giants. They've got the Padres, Astros. They've got Cardinals, Mariners, Dodgers, you name it. They're out there making these sunglasses, as well as the official U.S. women's soccer team sunglasses. So you can add a little extra something to your game day outfit in time for this summer's big matches. Don't be the person that's squinting into the sun or worried about getting sand on their overpriced sunglasses. Check out knockaround.com. For great looking polarized shades starting at just $28. It's a great deal. They look great. You can rep your team at the same time. Shout out to Knockaround Sunglasses. I feel like this was a thorough pod. This is a meaty,
really good
Monday pod that, we're starting off the second half here. We're doing it big. We're doing it right. Did we get to everything that we wanted to get to today?
I have a massive nug dump for whenever we do final thoughts. But I don't want to jump the gun.
Dump that nug on us right now.
Okay. So we're all over the place here. I want to follow up on 2 things that were mentioned earlier in the podcast. So we were talking about the Braves' current odds to win the World Series at 24.7%. That seemed pretty high to me for this point in the season. So I went back and found the last time a team had higher odds at this point in the year. Wasn't that far back, actually. It was 2018 Astros, who were 24.9% to win the World Series on July 17th. Joey talked about Blake Snell's second half ERA and how it is particularly outstanding. I looked at all pitchers who have made at least 60 career second half starts. And obviously the concept of first half and second half started in 1933. So since 1933, there have been 869 pitchers to make 60 or more second half starts. Blake Snell's 2.64 ERA is number 5 out of 869. 2 active guys are better, Kershaw and DeGrom. But the other 2 guys are old timers. So Joey's instincts right on there. I tweeted this last week, but I wanted to talk about it on the pod briefly. We used to do a segment on Starting 9, like where I was like, appreciate a superstar. And I just want to do a brief version of that with Mookie Betts. The only outfielders to debut in the last half century to produce more wins above replacement through age 30 than Mookie are Trout, Barry, Griffey, Ricky Henderson, and Andrew Jones. And he's going to, barring injury, he's going to pass Andrew this season on that list. And I just again, we get so used to seeing these guys every day and their greatness and all that. And it looked like Mookie might be entering like a little bit of a post-peak phase a year or two ago, and he's like as good as he's ever been. So just shot since June 23rd, he's hitting 400 with 10 homers in 18 games. So shout out to Mookie on that one. Francisco Lindor, it almost feels like his Mets career has been a little bit of a disappointment to some people, and I just want to like call out another great season for Lindor. Over the last month, he's been one of the 5 best players in the NL. Depending on which version of WAR you look at, he's either the 9th or the 10th best player in the National League overall this season. Obviously, his defense is carrying a decent chunk of that, but he is hitting a lot of homers as well. And during his Mets tenure, so 21 through 23, he ranks in the top 20 in Baseball Reference WAR and the top 10 in Fangraphs WAR overall in MLB among position players. So just like maybe he's not hitting the same homers that he used to, but the difference in his offensive contributions is almost entirely context. OPS Plus says he's basically the same player as he used to be. And then Tim Anderson, maybe I am not locked in enough on the White Sox, but I hadn't quite appreciated how absolutely terrible Tim Anderson has been this year. He has a 477 OPS over his last 61 games. Among all qualified batters in Major League Baseball, he is last in OPS, slugging, weighted runs created plus, and WOBA. He's 3rd worst in Fangraphs wins above replacement, and he's 2nd worst in on-base percentage, ahead of only Javi Baez. And then I started looking at his OPS on the season is 530 and Ohtani's is 1.051. So I looked for the last time that among qualified batters that the highest OPS was double the lowest OPS. And you have to go back to 2018 when Mike Trout had a 1.088 OPS to end the season. And Chris Davis with a C finished with a 539 OPS. So I know that's a stat everybody was thinking about, so I wanted to make sure everybody was good there. And then finally, little bit of a...
Well, Jay,
yeah, go ahead.
Tim Anderson has hit exactly 0 home runs this year.
He's doing everything bad. It's crazy. Like, I know he was batting average dependent and balls in play dependent, but like the way in which his entire game is collapsed at the same time is kind of incredible.
Not his fault. It's the White Sox fault. I'm convinced.
It's Tony La Russa's fault.
Yeah.
And I do want to give a little bit of maybe I was wrong on Cody Bellinger. So since June 24th, he's hitting 424. Since his return, which is about a week earlier than that, he ranks 8th out of 88 batters in the NL. And since June 24th, he ranks 4th out of 80 batters in the NL. Overall on the season, he has the 9th best OPS out of the 96 NL batters with at least 250 plate appearances. And as I said, he's been absolutely unconscious over the last, like, basically 3 weeks. So he might be back, and that was my last nugget, so I'll end there. But it does bring me to a question, which is, like, we talked about it with Stroman and Bellinger, obviously also on the Cubs. The Blue Jays angle for Stroman is fine. What interests me more is the total lack of conversation about whether the Cubs should be retaining these guys or trying to retain these guys long term. And like, I know you can trade pending free agents, get the prospects, and then re-sign those same players if you offer the most money. So maybe that's what happens. But I just find it odd that, like, we're now treating the Cubs like this small market, like, you know, trying to get it done franchise where it's like, you've stumbled upon 2 really great finds here. Can't it be like, can't they be part of the core moving forward if you just pay market value? I don't know. I just think it's weird what the Cubs have become.
It is odd. Thank you for the nugs, Jay. Hey,
no problem.
Dallas, any final thoughts today?
Hey, Jake.
God.
Tuck your fucking broom away, pal. It ain't fucking happening. Fuck you. Fuck your bet. Fuck your sweep. Fuck it all. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. I pray to God it doesn't happen. It is not going to happen this time around. Not going to happen.
It's definitely happening.
A's are playing a little bit better brand of baseball, Jake.
No, they're not.
Different team than when we last hooked up.
Nope.
Wasn't that last week?
Shut up, J.A.
I was there.
It's extremely recent.
You guys are so caught up in the past. It's sickening. That's the thing. Is you're letting storylines like, oh, they got swept just like 96 hours ago, and oh, the numbers, and look at the record, and look at the roster. You let all these external sources affect what's going on right in front of you. Fuck the numbers, fuck the stats, fuck the facts. All right, watch the game with your heart one time.
They swept them a week ago yesterday.
I gotta go.
Joseph, any final thoughts?
I'm just going to echo that. Saw them up close, saw the Athletics in person. They looked like, the preparation was there. They're putting some good at-bats, walked some guys who they shouldn't have, but, they fought back and only lost by 1. And that's pretty good. Damn. And I got to say, Oakland Coliseum, underrated. They got Blue Moons. They got a speed pitch, hit 80, not a big deal. Treehouse. They got a treehouse. Seagulls.
Oh, yeah.
Everything you fucking want. Oakland Coliseum. Underrated.
Seagulls. Took you 4 things before you got to seagulls. I think it's properly rated.
Everything you want. Everything you could ever ask for in a ballpark.
Dripping with nostalgia and seagull shit. No problem.
Yeah. Jake's takes?
Just pump for the sweep.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
You're dick.
Just the easiest sweep. Just to continue this second half. The Red Sox have the best record in baseball this month, and it will continue with another sweep of the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
No need to worry about the weather in Boston. Because it's going to be raining fucking L's, Jake. Raining L's.
But we're playing the series in Oakland.
But you're in Boston, and Jake's in Boston.
Yeah, we're in Boston. Yeah.
That's right.
Right, idiots.
Jake looks like he's in a vacation house, to be honest.
That is true. We'll be back on Wednesday. We have another ESPN personality joining us on Thursday.
Alex Rodriguez.
He's Fox Sports. We will have someone else joining us on Thursday. That'll be a fun conversation. Somebody making their baseball is dead debut. Ooh, toasty. All right. We'll see you there.
Wow.